This conference will now be recorded.
Hello students, I'm Dr. Divya from TeenEinstein. So now we are preparing for NEET 2024. We have 2 to 3 months now to prepare for this exam. So in the last class, we had discussed how to prepare and how to do the application, how to fill the application and how to mark the questions, how to mark the answer for each and every question and how to get the admit card, then how to attend the exam, how to prepare for the exam. All this we had discussed in the last part. So this part onwards or this class onwards, what we are going to do is we are going to do a quick review of each chapter, and after going through the topics, we are not going in detail, but the highlighted portions, we are going through those portions and the questions we are going to practice. For each chapter, we are going to do this. So it will be easy for you to get an idea about the exam, and what you can do is you can read each chapter very well, then you need to attend these classes so that you will get the highlighted portions or important portions of each chapter. Then you can go for the practice session. From each chapter, maximum number of questions or previous year questions I'll try to include after completing the explanation. Okay, so let's start with this first chapter, chapter 1 from 11th standard biology textbook, the living world. Okay, so in this chapter, chapter 1, the living world, here mainly we are dealing with two topics. These are the main portions of this chapter: diversity and taxonomy, then binomial nomenclature. Okay, so these are the main portions. From this you can expect questions. So under this chapter, in the syllabus of NEET, this is NEET syllabus. Okay, from that I have copied this. So they have given in NEET syllabus, they have given we need to learn what is living, then biodiversity, need for this classification, taxonomy and systematics, concept of species and taxonomical hierarchy, binomial nomenclature. So these are the main topics we need to learn for the NEET exam from this chapter. Clear? So let's start with the first topic. So you know that what is biology? Biology means the science which is dealing with the study of living organism and their life processes, right? So in biology we can learn about the life processes and the we can study the living organisms, right? And about that living organism, how they are living, what are all processes are taking place in their body. So about all this we are explaining in biology. So here we are telling about the living organism, right? So how can you differentiate a living organism and a non-living organism, or which are all the characters of a living organism? What is the differentiating features or characters or the qualities that is differentiating a living organism and the non-living organism? So characteristics of living beings, that's what we are going to discuss first in this chapter. So we are discussing about only the important characteristic features of living organism, which is differentiating a living organism from a non-living organism. So first character is growth. Growth is the first character. Okay, so growth means that is the characteristic of all living organism, right? So what do you mean by growth? Growth means increase in the biomass. Increase in biomass, and biomass is increasing means increasing the size of individual. Okay, increasing the biomass plus increase in size. Okay, so the most of the topic I'll go through all these topics. I won't be repeating. So first you need to be prepared with this chapter, then go for this highlighted portions or important topics which I'm discussing. Then we'll go for the practice session. Okay, so growth is a characteristic of all living organism. Growth means increase in biomass and increase in size. And next characteristic feature, that is reproduction. Okay, reproduction is the basic feature or basic characteristic feature of living organism, right? Living organism, they'll reproduce. So reproduction means the production of offsprings, right? Production of offsprings, that is called as reproduction. Production of offsprings, and these offsprings will be more or less similar to the parents, right? So similar, no, it won't be the exact copies, but they'll be having similarities with the parents. Okay, that is called as reproduction, production of offsprings. And third one is consciousness. Consciousness, that is the ability of living beings to sense their surroundings, right? See, if you are sitting somewhere, we'll be having the ability to think, or we'll be conscious about our surroundings. That is the ability of living organism. So consciousness means living beings or living things or living organisms will be able to sense their surroundings, and they'll be able to respond, right? They'll be able to respond. Sense plus response ability. Okay, living organisms will be able to sense their surroundings, and they'll be able to respond according to the environmental stimuli. Okay, that may be chemical stimuli or physical stimuli or biological stimuli, whatever maybe, they'll be able to respond according to that. Okay, next feature, characteristic feature of living organism, that is cellular organization. Cellular organization. Cellular organization, that is a defining feature of living forms. Okay, so we know that cell, that is a basic building block of this living organism. Basic unit of life, right? So living organisms, they have cellular level of organization. So that is the defining feature of living organism, because cells are the basic unit of living organisms. Cell is the basic unit of life, right? Next one is homeostasis. Homeostasis. See, what do you mean by homeostasis? Homeostasis means the maintenance of constant internal environment. Maintenance of constant internal environment. This is called as homeostasis. Our internal environment should be, or environmental condition should be same. It should not get altered. So to maintain, that is a process of maintaining a constant internal environment. Which one? Homeostasis. See, like all the living things, they'll maintain their complex structure, right? See, think about the human beings, they have a complex structure, and with that complex structure, they are trying to maintain a constant internal environment. They have several processes which is taking place in human body. Not only human body, in all living organisms body, they'll be having several processes which is going on. See, digestion will be there, absorption will be there. So they are able to maintain a constant internal condition or internal environment. That is called as homeostasis. Next is metabolism. Metabolism. So metabolism means here anabolism and catabolism both are taking place. See, metabolism means there is a constructive process which is anabolism, right? And a destructive process that is catabolism. So a constructive reaction is there, anabolism, that is anabolism, and catabolism is a destructive reaction. So both are taking place. So by this, living beings are assimilating and utilizing the energy for all the life processes. So this makes the energy for life processes. Okay. Next feature or characteristic feature of living organism, that is movement. Movement. Okay. Movement. See, in movement is or locomotion, we can say, from one place to another place, that is shown by animals. And plant parts, that is also showing such slight movements. And in locomotion, movement by plant parts they are showing. And in animals you can see locomotion means from one place, it is changing the position or it is changing the place from one place to another place. Movement is seen in the plants, but in animals you can see that very clearly, which is the locomotion, that is changing from one place to another place. The place itself changing, that is moving from one place, one local location or one place to another place. So in animals, that characteristic feature of movement is very clear, right? Okay, so these are the main characteristic features of living beings. So here you need to see, if you are not able to remember this, which and all the features, you may get a question out of this, which one is not the characteristic features of living being, or they might have given one feature and you will get an option which is similar to this one, the characters which are similar to this one, and you will get an they'll be asking the question to remove or to select the one which is the one and only feature which is explaining the characteristic features of living being. So you need to remember, you need to use some shortcuts or codes to remember such things. So here, growth, for growth you should write G, then reproduction R, consciousness C, cellular organization again C, homeostasis H, metabolism M, movement M. So this code you should remember, GRCCHMM. Okay, GRCCHMM. You should remember growth, R for reproduction, C for consciousness, C for cellular organization, H for homeostasis, M for metabolism, and M for movement. GRCCHMM. Just some people will be able to remember this kind of codes for easy answering. So these are the methods, some tricky ways which they are keeping in their mind to remember the answer. So, but they should be familiar with this terms: consciousness, cellular. One C is for consciousness, another for cellular organization, one H is for homeostasis, then both M, it is coming two times, one is for metabolism and one for movement. You can make codes like this and try to remember in this way. Okay, these are the tricky methods which you need to try for this kind of MCQ questions. Okay, next one, classification and its need. That's the next topic. Okay, classification and what is the need of classification. So we know that we can't study each and every organism. So it's impossible. We can say it's impossible to study all the organisms. we cannot study all the organisms or all the living beings, right? So instead of that, we need to get the idea about living organism. So it's nearly impossible to study all the living organisms. So we need a device or some means to make this studies possible. So that process is called as the process which is helping to study the living organism, that is called as classification. That is classification, because we cannot uh, find out each and every organism, and we cannot study that. So what we need to do, we need to make this studies possible, then only we'll get an idea about living organisms. So what usually we need to make different classification, the general features we can study, exceptional characters we can study. So like that we need to classify the organism and study. This is to make it in an easier way, right? So classification, that is the systematic arrangement of organism, right? We are making classes or different groups, so that is a systematic arrangement of organism into groups. Into groups. This is the definition of classification. So systematically we are arranging the organism into group on the basis of their affinities, or on the basis of their relationships. Based on similar characters we are arranging. Then classification, why we need classification? Classification is necessary. Why we are saying it is necessary, or what is the necessity of this classification? There are some reasons why we are saying it is necessary. Classification is necessary. See, first thing is for the convenience of study, for study purpose, right? For I said already, we cannot study each and every organism. So we need, for the convenience, we need to make into groups and we need to study, right? Then for knowledge of adaptation, right? For the knowledge of adaptation, then we can get another point. First, we are making classes. Then first, why we are making classes? First thing is to study about the organisms, different groups of organisms. We can make, instead of studying each and every organism, we can make into groups. Then we can study the similar features and the dissimilar features among each organism. So like that we can make our studies by comparison, right? Comparative study we can make. Then the sequence of evolution we can learn. Sequence of evolution, we are starting from the basic organism and we are going to the higher level of organism. Means there we can see the sequence of evolution, what and all the evolving characters. When we are going to next group, what and all extra characters or extra features which are helpful, that you can see in next level of organism. When we are going to higher level, what and all special features which you can see, which is helping them to live in today's environmental conditions. So there will be some kind of adaptation. So that evolving sequence you can study very well. Then evolution we are learning means we can learn the phylogenetic relationship also. Phylogenetic study, that is also possible, right? Then we can discover that new organisms, discovery of new organisms, that is also possible. So here, convenience of study, the knowledge of adaptations, the knowledge of sequence of evolution, knowledge of phylogenetic relationship, then discovery of new organism, everything we can do with the help of this classification. So that is a necessity of classification. Then modern system of classification that began in 1758, right? Who started this with classification? When Carl Linnaeus, who is a Swedish botanist, he published the 10th edition of his book Systema Naturae, which is that Linnaeus. Carl Linnaeus, his book, which is that book Systema natura? These are all direct questions. Okay. So that is book name is Systema Naturae. Then who the classification that began with Carls Linnaeus. Okay, he was a botanist, Swedish botanist, and he published the book Systema Naturae. Clear? Now we are moving to the next topic, systematics. So this is the way we are going to learn each and every chapter. Important points we will learn, then only slight explanations will be there. Okay, so systematics, here we are learning the diversity of organism. See, the systematics means the study of diversity of organism. Okay, and along with that, evolutionary relationship. Evolutionary relationship we are learning between these organisms. So study of living organism and the diversity of organism we are learning there, and the evolutionary relationship we are learning there. And here the systematic arrangement of organism on the basis of identification, on the basis of classification, nomenclature and taxonomy. On the basis of all these, we are doing the systematic arrangement. So diversity of organism we are studying, the evolutionary relationship of organisms we are studying, and the differences between organisms that also we are studying. And on the basis of all these studies, systematically we are arranging the organism. That is called as systematics. Okay, so first one, what we are going to do is identification. While doing the systematic study, first we need to identification. First step is identification. See, identifying the correct name and position of an organism. Okay, so that is the base. Okay, so this is done with the help of some keys. Identification of the name and position. So there are some keys to help. So this identification is done with the help of keys. Okay. So what is this keys? Keys means the matching or the alternating characters which are found in that organism. Keys means characters or characteristic features which are found in that organism. That is the identification step. Next step is classification. Second step is classification. Classification, see, classification means the scientific grouping. Simply not grouping into grouping that organism or positioning that organism somewhere. That's not the way. Scientifically we need to study, so that involves the scientific grouping. That means scientific studies, or with the help of these keys we need to give a correct place in the group. So that grouping of identified organism into a convenient category, that is the scientific grouping, or we need to place that in a correct taxa based on the easily observable characters or fundamental features. So we have studied some keys. Based on the keys or characters, characteristic features, we are positioning them, we are classifying them in the exact place. Okay, so here in the scientific grouping we will think about kingdom, then phylum, then class, order, family, genus, species. Okay, so about these things, according to this we need to place the organism in the correct position. Then third one is nomenclature. Nomenclature. Okay, this is the next step. We need to name the organism, the scientific name which we need to provide for that organism. So providing a distinct and proper name to that organism. In a scientific way, we need to name that organism. That is called as nomenclature. Okay. So here we are providing a distinct and proper name to that organism so that we can they can easily recognized, and we can differentiate that organism from the other organism. That is the nomenclature. Okay. So what are all the how we will study the organism? We need to identify what is systematics, identification, classification, and nomenclature of organism. These are the three steps: identification, classification, and nomenclature of organism. That is called as systematics. Systematic study means first we need to identify, then we need to classify, then we need to give name or nomenclature we need to do. That is called as systematics. Okay, so now we said about the naming of that organism. Binomial system of nomenclature. That's what we are following. Binomial system of nomenclature. Okay, actually, this binomial system of nomenclature, this was proposed by Carl Linnaeus. Okay, in 1753, Carl Linnaeus, he proposed the binomial system of nomenclature. And in which book? Species Plantarum. In his book Species Plantarum, he proposed the binomial system of nomenclature. So let's see what is this binomial system of nomenclature. So as per this binomial system of nomenclature, we need to name any organism. The organism, if you want to name an organism, that organism will be having two parts in their name. Two parts will be there, right? Two parts or two epithets, we can say. Two parts or two epithets will be there. That is, which are the two parts? First one is generic epithet, and second one is specific epithet. These are the two parts of that name. For example, I'm just to get an idea, again I'm saying the species name will, genus name will be there, and species name. Generic epithet means genus name, and specific epithet means species name. These are the two parts of that name, scientific naming of an organism. So first, the botanical name of mango. Mango. Botanical name. What is the botanical name of mango? Mangifera indica. Right? Mangifera indica. Here we need to write the scientist name who gave that naming. Okay, so that's why we are mentioning L for Linnaeus. So in this, Mangifera, that is the generic epithet, and indica, that is the specific epithet, right? So to represent this Mangifera indica, which is generic epithet Mangifera, and the genus, that is representing the genus, and the specific epithet, which is representing the species, that is indica. So this is representing the scientific name, the species genus name first and the species name the second one. And here we are writing L. Why we are writing L? The name of the scientist who gave the scientific name to mango. So Carl Linnaeus is the person who gave the scientific name to mango, Mangifera indica. So this is an Indian species. That's why they gave indica. Mangifera is the genus name and species name is indica. And L, that we need to give because that represents the scientist name who gave the scientific name to mango. Okay, and now we are moving to the rules and regulations. We said binomial nomenclature, how to do that. Rules for binomial nomenclature. Let's see the rules for binomial nomenclature. See, first the rules were framed by Carl Linnaeus, and that rules got revised by various courts. Um, And let's see which are all the rules, general rules. See, now we wrote, like, again I'm writing here, Mangifera indica, right? So here, biological names, when we are printing of biological name, that should be in italics. Okay, this is indicating their Latin origin. Okay, this shows their Latin origin. Printing of biological names should be in italics to show their Latin origin. Then handwritten. When they are handwritten, both words should underline separately. Mangifera and indica both should get underlined separately. Okay, you should not forget, while printing, that will get printed in italics to show the Latin origin, and while writing in hand, you should underline the generic epithet and specific epithet separately. Okay, and here one more thing you need to notice, the genus name. Here you can see this is the genus name and this is the species name, right? Genus name, the starting letter is in capital. Genus starts with capital letter, right? And what about the species name? Species name, that in small letter. Okay, so you should not forget while writing all these things. Species name, genus name starts with capital letter, while species epithet is always with small letter. You should not forget while writing this. Okay, and name of author. Name of the author. Name of the author. That while printing, it will be printed in Roman bold letter. Roman bold letter. It should be in bold letter, Roman bold letter. Okay, and the name of categories higher than the rank of genus that are not printed in italics. Bold letters can be used for this. So which one? Genus, we said this is the genus name and this is the species name. So while writing, while printing, we are printing in italics. So higher rank, above genus, so many ranks are there, right? Genus, species and all coming in the lower one, right? So above, first lower level is species, then genus, then family, order, class, phylum, kingdom, all these are coming above that. So all those are printed in bold letters. Bold letters we can use. Okay, so that should not be printed in italics. The next one we are going to learn. So this is the rules of binomial nomenclature for writing or printing. These are the rules, main rules we need to follow. Then the codes of biological nomenclature. Here, see, there are 5 codes for this biological nomenclature. Okay, so 5 codes of nomenclature which is helping you to avoid the errors and duplication, all this in the scientific naming process. Okay, so codes of biological nomenclature, this is important. Codes of biological nomenclature. First one is ICBN. You need to learn the full form of this ICBN, International Code of Botanical Nomenclature. That is International Code of Botanical Nomenclature. Okay, this is ICBN. ICBN, International Code of Botanical Nomenclature. Next, ICZN. What is this? ICZN is International Code of Zoological Nomenclature. Okay, International Code of Zoological Nomenclature. Then ICVN. Third one is ICVN. This is International Code of Viral Nomenclature. International Code of Viral Nomenclature. Okay, ICVN. Then ICBN. ICBN. What is this ICBN? Don't get confused. International Code of Bacteriological Nomenclature. International Code of Bacteriological Nomenclature. See, ICBN botanical nomenclature is there. Then ICBN bacteriological nomenclature is also there. Then ICNCP. That is the fifth one. ICNCP. Same International Code of Nomenclature for Cultivated Plants. International Code of Nomenclature for Cultivated Plants. Okay, International Code of Nomenclature for Cultivated Plants. ICNCP. Nomenclature for cultivated plants. For cultivated plants, for nomenclature, these are the codes which we need to follow. ICNCP. Okay, so these are the points which we need to learn about binomial system of nomenclature. So in nomenclature, binomial system of nomenclature, first we are learning who gave this, who started this, and what are the rules, which are the parts of this binomial system of nomenclature, then rules for binomial nomenclature, then codes of biological nomenclature. Okay. Next is taxonomy. About taxonomy we are learning. See, taxonomy means we know that is dealing with the principles and process of or procedures of identification, nomenclature, and classification of organisms. Taxonomy deals with identification, classification, nomenclature. Taxonomy means we're grouping into the correct place. So that reflects the natural and phylogenetic relationship among the organisms. We know that based on the phylogenetic relationship or evolutionary relationship and the natural features, based on that only we are classifying the organism. And here next point which we need to mention that provides the details of external and internal structures. Taxonomy. In taxonomy you will get external and internal details. So external and internal structural details we are getting, the cellular structure and the ecological information we are getting, about all details. We are getting all the details about one organism. First we are identifying, then we are nomenclature we are doing, then classifying the organism. So this taxonomy means that is giving the complete details about the organism. That means the evolutionary relationship or the phylogenetic relationship it is giving, and the natural features of the organism it is giving. Then it is giving the internal and external structural features of that organism it is giving, and the ecological information of that organism. So everything we are getting. So who coined this term taxonomy? Taxonomy. This was coined by A.P.D. Candle. Okay. Then another point, what is alpha taxonomy? Alpha taxonomy. This is one important question. Like alpha taxonomy means the classical taxonomy or the old systematics that is called as alpha taxonomy. old systematics or classical taxonomy. The old method of classification or taxonomy, that is called as old systematics or classical taxonomy, that is called as alpha taxonomy. And here we said in the new taxonomy, what it is giving: external features, internal features, all details we are getting. But in the alpha taxonomy or the old systematics or old classical taxonomy, we are getting only the morphological traits. Based on the morphology, this classification was done based only on the morphology. So the concept of this modern taxonomy or biosystematics that was given by Julian Huxley. Modern taxonomy concept. Who gave this modern taxonomy concept? Huxley. Julian Huxley. Julian Huxley gave the concept of new taxonomy or biosystematics or the modern taxonomy. So Julian Huxley is called as the father of neo taxonomy. Father of neo taxonomy. Who's that? Julian Huxley. Okay, so according to this neo taxonomy, the species, they are the dynamic and ever changing entity. Species will change, right? And who's the father of taxonomy? We said already, Linnaeus. He's the father of taxonomy. Father of taxonomy. That was a foundation, right? Who is that? Linnaeus. Carl Linnaeus is called as father of taxonomy, and father of neo-taxonomy is Julian Huxley, or father of modern taxonomy. Okay. Next, in this chapter, we are learning about taxonomic hierarchy. See, taxonomic hierarchy means in which way these organisms are getting arranged, that we need to learn. So here, the system of arranging the organism in a definite sequence, in a particular sequence of various taxonomic categories. Right. So system of arranging organism in a definite sequence, in a correct sequence. Right. So this sequence means that include various taxonomic categories. That means in taxonomic categories. That is called as what? That taxonomic categories, how we will arrange it, may be in descending or ascending order. That is called as taxonomic hierarchy. Okay, so arranging the organism in a correct sequence, that means arranging them in different taxonomic categories that may be based on the that hierarchy. Taxonomic categories may be in the descending order or in the ascending order. That is called as taxonomic hierarchy. And this taxonomic hierarchy is also called as Linnaeus hierarchy. Linnaeus hierarchy. Why Linnaeus hierarchy? Why it is called as Linnaeus hierarchy? Because this was first proposed by Carl Linnaeus. He proposed this taxonomy, father of taxonomy. Who is that father of taxonomy? Carl Linnaeus. So that's why it is also called as Linnaeus hierarchy. And Linnaeus introduced 5 categories in the taxonomic hierarchy. Carl Linnaeus, he introduced 5 categories. Which are the 5 categories? 5 categories. He introduced 5 different categories for this. That is class, order, genus, species, and variety. Okay. Class, order, genus, species, variety. So here, this is introduced by Linnaeus. Okay, later on, like 3 more categories. Later, 3 categories. 3 more categories included into this. Which are the 3 more categories? Like kingdom, division, or kingdom, division or phylum, then family. These were added, and this variety that got discarded. Okay. So first, these was the 5 categories: class, order, genus, species, variety. Later, this variety got discarded and 3 another categories got added into that: kingdom, phylum, and family. Okay, so let's see what is this kingdom. Kingdom. When we are placing one organism into a position in, or we are classifying an organism, we should know what is kingdom. See, this is the highest taxonomic category. Highest taxonomic category, and all plants are included in plantae, kingdom plantae, and animals, in which kingdom? Animals are included in kingdom animalia. Okay, animal kingdom is there, plant kingdom is there. Okay, all plants are included in kingdom plantae and animals are included in kingdom animalia. So that is the highest taxonomic category. Okay, next comes the division. Division means division, or in plants we can call that as division, and in animals division or phylum. So in division, this is division in plants. Okay, phylum in animals. We'll write phylum in animals, and while writing about plants, we'll write division. So phylum or division, that's a group of various classes. Various classes are included because, for example, we can say on the basis of some common features like presence of notochord or the dorsal hollow neural system, and we are classifying. There are many classes of organisms which are having this. So all the organisms, all the classes of organisms are included in this division. It's based on that such a special feature, a common feature like the presence of notochord. Okay, so that is called as phylum or division. Next comes class. This is group of related orders. Group of related orders. That is called as class. Okay. Then order. Order means like this is a group of families which exhibit some few similar characters. Group of families with similar character. Okay. Next, genus. Genus or genera. Some closely related species. Group of closely related species, they will come under the same genus. See, for example, we can say potato, then brinjal. All these are 3 different species, like tomato, potato, brinjal. All these are different species, but all are belonging to the genus Solanum. Okay, the genus is Solanum. Genus Solanum. Potato is a different one, tomato is different one, and which one, brinjal, that is also different one, different species, all these 3, but all these species, 3 different species are belonging to the same genus Solanum. Okay, next, what is a species? Which is a basic unit of classification. See, this is the fundamental unit or the smallest unit of classification, and this is a group of individuals which are having resembling characters or resemblance. Each and other morphological features will be there, physiological features will be there, and they'll be capable of breeding among themselves. Okay, they'll be able to breed among themselves. Okay, we cannot make a potato and tomato. We cannot cross those plants, right? But we can cross 2 tomato plants, 2 potato plants, right? So that's the way they can breed among themselves, and they'll be capable of producing a next generation, and they'll be species, they'll be having similar morphological and physiological characters, and the individuals will be having resemblance. So that's why we are calling as species. Okay, so each unit of classification that represents a rank, each unit of classification, here you can see different units of classification. So these is commonly called as taxon. Taxon. Each unit of classification represents a rank, a particular rank, and that is called as taxon. Plural, we can say taxa. Okay. Then comes the concept of species. See, we are moving to the last part of this chapter, concept of species. What do you mean by species? We said that is the fundamental unit, fundamental or the smallest unit of classification, or that is the smallest unit of classification. So the concept of species that was proposed by John Ray. John Ray, he proposed the fundamental unit of this classification, species. And static concept of species, or the morphological concept of species, this was proposed by Carl Linnaeus. Static or morphological concept of species was proposed by Linnaeus. Carl Linnaeus, and he considered the species as a fixed and immutable entity. Species as a fixed one or the immutable entity. Then dynamic concept of species. Dynamic concept of species. See, this was proposed by Lamarck. Lamarck considered the species as a mutable or dynamic entity. See, what Linnaeus thought, this won't change, the species won't change. But Lamarck considered this species as a mutable, or that can change. Changes can happen to species, and that is the dynamic entity, or that will be continuously changing. The dynamic concept that was brought by Lamarck. Then the biological concept of species. Biological concept of species. See, this was proposed by Ernest Mayr. Ernest Mayr. So, according to the biological concept of species, each and other in a species, that means a group of organisms, they'll be having resemblance, their morphological, physiological, biochemical, and behavioral characters. All these are similar. They'll be having resemblance and they'll be able to interpret. Character resemblance plus breeding. So these similar characters, they are making them to breed. They'll be capable of interbreeding. Okay. Then here are some common names or scientific names of human being, like Homo sapiens. Their complete classification in which genus, which family, order, class, phylum, kingdom, all these. So like that, in your textbook, it will be there that you have to learn. Table will be there that you have to learn. Then tools for studying this taxonomy. See, biologists, they have established some specific procedures and the techniques to store and preserve the information, right? See, just to study this about this organism, we don't have all the materials. So scientists have preserved some informations and the specimens which are useful in the identification and classification of organisms. Then only we can show the evolution of the organism, or the changes which has come in each and every type of organism. So these procedures, they are called as taxonomic tools or the aids. Taxonomic tools or taxonomic aids. Right. So there are some main tools which are helping for the studies of this taxonomy. First one is herbarium. This herbarium, that means plant specimen collection. How will for plants, herbarium collection, that is for, this is the storehouse of collected plants or plant specimens, we can say. And how we will keep that? We'll dry, then we'll press it and preserve on sheets. Okay, plant preserved materials. So the biggest herbarium of the world is Royal Botanical Garden at Kew, England. And the biggest herbarium of India, that is Central National Herbarium, Indian Botanical Garden at Kolkata. Okay, so what is herbarium? Which is the world's best or the biggest herbarium? Royal Botanical Garden. And that is in England. And the biggest herbarium of India, that also you need to learn, Central National Herbarium, Indian Botanical Garden, which is at Kolkata. Okay, next one is botanical gardens. Botanical garden. See, this is also a tool for the study of taxonomy. Botanical garden, this is the collection of living plants. Herbarium is plant specimen that we are preserving, right? So here, botanical garden means living collection. This is the living collection, living plant material for both pure and applied studies. Okay, so largest botanical garden of Asia, that is Indian Botanical Garden, Sipur. And first botanical garden is Pisa Botanical Garden, which is in Italy. And the main functions of botanical garden, which we need to learn, that is to provide records of local flora, about local flora for monographic work that we need to provide. Which one? The botanical gardens will provide records of local flora for monographic work, and they're providing facilities for the collection of living plant, because that is a collection of living plant, and living plant material we can collect for the biosystematic studies. Then to supply the seeds and materials for botanical investigation, that is also possible because that is the living collection of plants, right? And third one is museums. Museums, they have preserved plants and animals, preserved ones. Preserved plants or animals, right? This is for reference purpose. For while studying, we need reference for all these things. So these are prepared for the preservation of algae, fungi, then mosses, ferns, animals, all these, because they cannot be kept in herbaria. Okay, and the insects, they are preserved in insect boxes, and after collecting, they'll be killed and they'll be pinned properly, so they can be kept in boxes. Okay, then larger animals and birds or mammals, all these are usually stuffed and preserved where in the museum. Okay, then fourth one is um, for the study purpose of taxonomical studies, another tool is zoological parks. Zoological parks. See, like we said, botanical garden, like that is the live one. So zoological parks, they are the places where animals are kept in protected environment. See, animals, live animals, animals in protected environmental condition, animals are kept. Okay, so human beings will be or people will be caring them. They'll be giving right food and all other things, providing them, and they'll be taking care of them. So largest zoo of world, that is situated in Kruger, South Africa. Largest zoo in South Africa it is. Okay, next comes the fifth one is taxonomic key. So this taxonomic key, this is one of the taxonomical aid which is used to identify the plants and animals. We can identify the plants and animals, and these are based on the contrasting features. Generally, we can call this couplet, and they can represent the choice made between two opposite options. So one is accepted and another key is rejected. Okay, that's how the taxonomic key. Then the manuals and catalogs. Sixth one is manuals and catalogs. See, these manuals and catalogs, they are providing the information for identification, then for the name and the species which is found in which area. Like how our dictionary will be there for each word. So like that, the manuals and catalogs are helping them to get the informations like identification of the name of species which are found in which area. For that and all, they are helping manuals and catalogs. Then monographs. Seventh one is monographs. Okay, so monographs means they are having the information of any one taxon, like family or genus, any one category and family or genus. They'll be having information of any one category. We are telling about monograph. Any one taxa information will be there on that. Okay, so these are the main points like tools of study. Tools for study of taxonomy, then taxonomic hierarchy, binomial system of nomenclature, then systematics, characters of living beings, and classification, and what is the need of classification. These are the main points which you need to learn in this chapter. And in the next part of this first chapter, now first chapter, living world, this is the first part. In part one, we have done a quick review because this is a very simple chapter. Just like you need to get an idea about the classification and systems of that classification. What is the necessity of that classification? What are the tools for the study of this taxonomy? So like that, you will get almost all the direct questions are there from this chapter, that while practicing the questions, you will get an idea. So this is a very simple chapter. You can cover maximum, it will take 1 or 2 hours to get an idea about the chapter. See, based on a medium level student, I'm saying, for them also it will take very less time to cover this chapter. Okay, there's nothing to understand, like no deep portions and all. Here you can learn the definitions and the meaning of each term and how the classification is done. So like that, so many definitions are there, how these procedures are done, and what and all you will get. See, museum, we know what is museum, what is zoological park, we have an idea. So while preparing for NEET, you will get only MCQs. So just get an idea, just go through this chapter, and next part we'll be practicing the questions, previous year questions and important questions from this chapter. So go through this portion and get ready for the next part. Thank you.